Tough day with a boatload of numpties, but with this crew, if we can catch that many fish, it does show how good a charter operator I am. Birth name, Grant Fennell, but I don't get called that. Fuzz or Fuzzell. We're in my fish bay in Cleve and have quite a bit of fun down here. It's good. I'm actually a painter by trade. That's possibly the one I've stuck at the longest. But when I was painting, I was disappearing fishing a fair bit, and I wanted a nice boat, and I knew my wife Mel wasn't much hope of spending a lot of money on a flash boat, so I said to her, I think I might start up a charter fishing business, and it backfired on me a bit because I thought I'd just get a good boat and not actually have to do too much work. But right from the start, I got tangled up with the Shimano crew and didn't realise how good our fishing is. And it just exploded right from day one. I ended up doing some years over 200 charters in a year. So I did get the nice boat, but yeah, it did backfire a bit. I had to do a bit more work than I thought. Poo. Clayton Gallant, the guy called Clayton Peak is the guy that makes them. They're a beautiful hull, as you can see. It's a pretty calm sea we're cutting through, but we're doing 45 kilometres an hour now, and barely feels like we're moving. It's a beautiful, stable boat. She's an old girl. She's about 28 years old, the hull. I've had it 18 years. I've been chartering, and I was 10 years old when I got it. You just got to keep your load level on your boat with the deep V. They'll lean or roll a bit, but yeah, once you get your load level, they ride beautiful. Need to level the boat up, Pumbas. 6.8 metres, this one with a 300 Suzuki on the back, which pushes it along pretty easy. We're doing 4,000 revs at the minute, and yeah, 40 odd Ks. It'll do about 75 Ks, flat chat on a calm day. It's always been an outboard with a pod. The pod was put on after, but as an outboard, I don't think it's ever had an inboard in the boat. Had twin yammies on it, but it didn't ride that well, so we went back to a single Suzuki. About a litre kilometre, so fuel's pretty good. Yeah, depends on your sea and your load, obviously. I'm not quite sure whether it's 260 litres or 280 litres. I have run out of fuel once or twice over the years. Sometimes my fault, sometimes not my fault. Yeah, what sort of attracted me when I first started was the Sea Rescue would use the Claytons as their boat, and you sort of think if a Sea Rescue organisation's going to use a boat, well, you reckon they'd have a rough idea of what's a better boat to use. So, yeah, I have hit things over the years, reefs, boat ramp, floors, rocks. Yeah, it's not easy out there. I'll wait till I put my insurance claim in, I'll tell you that. I've still got my original GPS, which is Garmin. I think it's a 170. That's 18 years old, and yeah, for my IQ, I find it quite easy to use and to get on your drops. It's a beauty. I've got the new, or a new plotter, which is also Garmin. I've got the Flash Harry one up here, which is everything, but I tend to just use that one as a sounder. It's a bit, it is a magnificent GPS and all that, but it's just a bit complicated, whereas this old girl's 18 years old, and yeah, it's just so easy to use. I don't know why they got to change things sometimes, but that's us in the little triangle with the green circle. There's your mark, and happy days. Arno Bay fishing or Eyre Peninsula, you don't need heavy gear to catch good fish. Normally about a 20-pound braid, straight to your swivel, and then we'll use a paternoster rig to catch the whiting later. A good solid T-curve, that's my favourite. I love the T-curves. And this one's got a little 2,500 Stella on it, which is a very nice reel to use for your whiting. chasing these big boys. I used to use bait runners, but now just Sedonas around the 2,500, so we can use that to catch the King George whiting inshore, and they're heavy enough to catch, you know, a snapper of that size. No worries. You know, obviously take your time and a little bit of patience. Yeah, they just get flogged, really. Yeah, and just smash them as hard as they can. Not gentle on gear. Yeah, they do cop a fair hiding, but yeah, they just keep going and bounce back. My real maintenance, what do you reckon? I put them in a box once a year and send them to Shimano, and they come back all shiny and brand new. They're beautiful. Yeah, I do bring them in here and give them a clean every now and again, but it's only superficial. Just I'm only using the detergent and giving them a half-assed wash. Yeah, no, they don't get too much love. Arno Bay is probably one of the best known snapper fisheries in Australia, I guess. I started about 18 years ago, and pretty much from day one could see that they're a slow growing fish, and the amount that we're getting caught by all the sectors, recreational, charter and commercial, the writing was on the wall a long time ago that it wasn't sustainable, and 3.5 years ago it basically collapsed and we've had a closure, and it's just been recently announced that we've got another 3.5 year closure. So hopefully when it opens again in about 3 years time, we've got a lot better management practices in place, and yeah, the fishery will bounce back hopefully better than it ever was, and it's just managed at a little bit better level. From a business point of view, it was murder, but if you want to be honest with yourself, something had to happen, and the minister that shut it at the time, Tim Whetstone, it was a pretty ballsy decision. I wouldn't like to have had to have that on my shoulders, but I think he's done a good thing. We've only been here a couple of 100 years and we've made a fair mess of it, but I think the younger ones are definitely much more aware of their environment and the resources, so hopefully our fishery's going to be in good hands. To be honest, the locals, we don't really bother with the snapper. You might go once a year to sort of itch that, scratch that itch, yeah. Good fun to catch, but not that great to eat, and we've got to go a little way offshore to get them. Most of the locals, when the snapper season was like in full swing, 95% of the time would just chase King George whiting. Yeah, snapper sort of 25-30 k's offshore. You do get a few in close, but the majority of them are out wide, but all our whiting are only close to shore, so the whiting's a lot easier. You need a bit more skill to catch a whiting, whereas a snapper, the hard part's finding them, catching them is pretty easy. First bit of advice for catching King George whiting would be get on a boat with someone that knows what they're doing, really.
Screwed up then.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to find any knowledge around here. Yeah, King George whiting's not that complicated. It's small bait, as you can see. You don't need a big bait. That's a bit of fresh cuttlefish we caught yesterday, and Clifty's cutting it up in just nice little bite-sized pieces. So the whiting, only a small mouth, so yeah, nice small bait. As light a sinker as you can fish. The right size hook, obviously, which is about a size or a 4 or 6 long shank, they're good. And if you've been in the spot for our area here, sort of 10 minutes, and you haven't caught anything, well, keep moving around until you find the fish. Some days they'll be under you and just won't bite, but yeah, normally you just got to keep moving until you find the fish. This one's an Arno Bay special. Leave a bit of line between your top hook on your paternoster rig and your swivel, and we attach a squid jag, jig, jag, whatever state you're in, however you want to call it. And while you're catching your whiting, happy days. If there's any squid down there, you'll catch a squid. Tuesday night was good. We had the lob-in, the first night frenzy, which you see a lot when boys go away. They love a beer, a feed, and sit around a fire and tell a few stories, which was great. What did we do? The Wednesday we chased the King George whiting in 20 plus knot winds, which was hard work, but we still caught plenty. The snook, they were a little bit hard to get along with, but we caught a few, so you can see how good that fishery was, and you saw the bin full of snook that we caught the day before. As always, the story should have been here yesterday. Today we caught the blue swimmer crabs, which supposedly were out of season, but you could see how good they were in no time. Yeah, it's the end of the crab season now, but hopefully we'll still get enough to make it worthwhile. It's a fair effort when you go crabbing. That's what you do for the day. Like, you can see all the gear in the boat, and yeah, and when they're on a couple of hours, you get your 40 or your 60. Right, they're our snook and whiting frames that we had from yesterday. So nothing's wasted. They're good fresh crab bait. Put them in the holder. Couple of zip ties. Sort of one about a third away along the bag. So then we just put the clip on the top rope. And Tanner's already got the buoy attached. Same clip that end with your rope, and not all that complicated. With a bit of tide, they've got a good sense of smell on them, the blue swimmer crabs, so they'll come from a fair distance to get into that pretty quick. Like, we go snorkeling in here and we get razorfish, and the crabs are in there, and they're actually quite hard to catch by hand. Yeah, and yeah, they're quite aggressive. I'll guarantee one of you boys will get bitten today. Possibly Tanner. Yeah, hang on.
It's the average size.
Yeah, they'll vary. Yeah, like the bigger ones will be claw to claw, 70, 80 centimetres for the real big boys. And then the weather went south pretty quick. Got cold, wet and windy. So unfortunately we couldn't have a crack at the yellowfin off the beach, which that's my favourite fishing, and when people get to experience that at its best, it's a pretty awesome thing to see. Football oval size schools of fish just bubbling and flashing in the water. It's pretty visual, and yeah, they're just a good fun fish to catch and good to eat. South Aussies, we love to keep most of what we catch and eat it. Colin Tannehill, from the CEO from Shimano, and Ian Clift, or Clifty, runs a tackle store at Cavan in Adelaide. They're a little bit left-handed, aren't they? Have a look at that. They never let you down, these two, do they?
Just when you thought they were going to have a good day. Fuck. What do you reckon, Grant?
Yeah, we're going home.
Did he say we're going home?
You're fucking good.
It's only 17 knots at Arno. And a bit like Statler and Waldorf, the two Muppets.
No, not on the fucking boat, get that.
that sit up on the balcony. It was only a matter of time yesterday before one of them put the treble through the hand and got caught. Whatever. You just knew it was going to happen at some stage. Yeah, but ripping blokes, and yeah, good couple of fellas to spend a couple of days fishing with. Like most fishing, it's yeah, the fishing's good fun, but it's the company you keep and the stories you tell, and yeah, it's just a good fun couple of days. Been an absolute pleasure. Even you two boys aren't too bad, really. Yeah. Back at head office now after a hard day on the water. You usually end up here, poke the chest out under the big fish up there. Unofficial world record. Star Wars bar, we call this one. All the freaks of the universe gather here. Chewbacca.
Including yourself?
Yeah, I'm right in amongst it. Good. There's nothing better than a good day's fishing and going back and having a couple of pints of keg beer. I reckon I just love it. And today after the crabbing, we called into Uncle's pub at Franklin Harbour or Cow, and a great old pub, and yeah, fantastic atmosphere to have a frothy after you've been crabbing or fishing.